And welcome to another week of potential failure. I'm Mike Krause.
I'm Mark Krause. It's the Fantasy Football Dojo here on Sunday morning, ready to get you set for your matchups here. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter at Football Dojo. That's our Twitter handle, and we'll answer any questions that we get on the air. I was out last week in glorious Las Vegas.
You jerk.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. I learned how to play craps. And I took the Patriots in the over in a parlay. So that worked out.
That did work out.
You might want to apologize because I had to fill in for you.
Oh, wow. The Overlord had to fill in for me.
And by fill in, stare at the screen. It's okay, but...
That was great. Well, sorry, guys. Sorry I was out last week.
No, come back, Tony. We got something to discuss. So there was a double or nothing hashtag Hot Guys battle.
Hashtag Hot Guys.
Last week. So I lost out 2 weeks ago to the head-to-head Eddie Lacy versus Matt Forte. I was supposed to end up, at one point we were going to chug some liquor, and then we were like, you know what, we can't do that, because first off, it's before noon on the East Coast. Yeah. Secondly, you're going to have to drive somewhere out of here. So we were just going to purchase that potentially. I think that was the goal, is to purchase something as a gift. So we went double or nothing. So we went from like a flask size to probably like a
like a handle.
I think a
You gotta
fifth.
throw a handle.
Yeah. Not a full handle.
No.
That would be a triple or nothing. But like a fifth. And all right, so last week we did another head-to-head. It was Andrew Luck. I took Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady. So you ran into Jonas Gray, who ran the ball in every time.
Yeah.
And I got, I believe it was 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I won that.
Yeah, no, I stopped watching.
So I win. So I'll let you know. I mean, I'll give you your choice of purchase.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that.
I'll pretty much consume anything but tequila. So
It is the holidays. You should throw some like alcoholic eggnog or something.
Oh no! Actually, that's the second thing I will
throw
drink.
some nog.
Actually, I'll drink whatever you give me. So you can do that if you want.
Well, congrats on your awful underachieving Andrew Luck performance that got you a win.
It still got me a win, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
All right, well, hey, big fantasy news this week. Arian Foster is out. So if you're an Alfred Blue owner...
Hey, good thing I didn't make that trade with you, right?
Well, I would have given you Blue as well.
Yeah, I know, but then, you know...
Blue looked great last week.
You never know if he's going to blue it or not.
Reggie Bush is out. So if you're a Joik Bell owner, you can hopefully make some hay there. And Josh Gordon is back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Hootie hoo. Josh Gordon returns to the lineup against the Atlanta Falcons, and I guess that's where we can start, Mikey. What do you think?
Well, That's a good question.
The Georgia Dome is an enclosed structure, so he could hot box it up all day today.
Yeah, he can. I don't know, man. We've been waiting for the Falcons to do things. I mean, we own Julio Jones in a shared league, and just keeps putting up like 11 points.
He's now our
flex. Right.
It's like, because we have Mike Evans, who is magical, and we love him, and we'll talk about him later.
He's ridiculous.
The Browns coach, Mike Pettin, says that Gordon's going to play 20 or 30 snaps. And Mike Smith, the Falcons coach, immediately came out and said, we don't believe you. There is no chance he plays 20 or 30 snaps. He's going to play the whole game.
Unless he looks like Fat Jeter from when Jeter hurt his ankle, then...
Which apparently he doesn't, because Brian Hoyer made out with him at practice and was like, oh my gosh, you're so fast. I don't know what to do with you. Which made the other receivers on the Browns go, hey... Hold on a second, but that's all right.
Miles Alston. So it's like,
they got Andrew Hawkins, but here's the point. Josh Gordon's better than anything they have.
He's probably better than anything you have on your team right now if you have Josh Gordon on your team.
Yes. Start Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
For gosh sakes, you've been sitting on him this long. Start him.
You've been incubating this fantasy egg, and let it hatch and breathe.
Yeah, let it breathe, because you're not going to face a better matchup than the horrible Atlanta Falcons pass defense.
So the running back scenario for the Browns...
that got interesting.
They decided to cut Ben Tate, which is good for people who own Terrence West or Crowell, but mainly West.
Right.
And then Tate then gets picked up by the Vikings. So
Matt Asiata is out.
What a switch! Sorry.
Matt Asiata will not play for the Vikings, which means Tate will have some sort of role. Jarrett McKinnon's been nursing a back injury all week.
For the people that owned any of the Vikings running backs, and we're dealing with that anyway,
sorry about that.
Continue the pain. But yeah, that clears up the Browns running back scenario at least a little bit.
Kinda. Yeah.
But now that they have a better receiver in, they might throw the ball a little bit more. Who knows? I still think Terrence West is a good flex, especially in PPR.
You could play Crowell too.
Right.
I think either one of those guys could be a flex for you. One of them's gonna hit, the other one's not, and we don't know who, because Crowell apparently is the starter, but West gets some time as well. you could do worse than Brian Hoyer in this game, I suppose, although it is in the Georgia Dome where Atlanta plays better. The only scenario you could see where Hoyer is going to be completely horrible is if Atlanta jumps out to a big lead and they, you know, whatever. But the Falcons, I mean, you kind of have to play all your Falcons at home. Roddy White's been better than Julio Jones, which I didn't see coming, but you know, he's legit.
Just more consistent as far as output for fantasy.
He's got more touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got more fantasy points as a whole. So, you know, you can't shy away from Roddy. He's got a 5-3 touchdown lead on Julio Jones. Jones has way more yards, but if you're in a non-PPR league, you can play both of them, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the usual thing with the Falcons. I don't expect much out of the running back scenario. Matt Ryan, again, you're banking on the receivers putting up numbers, so Ryan's a good play.
Matt Ryan today.
I got to be honest, though, I don't dislike the Cleveland's defense either. If you're streaming defenses, you don't.
I don't like Cleveland's defense at all.
I don't know,
because as bad as Atlanta is on the lines, both offensive and defensive, at home they play a lot better.
We'll see if that.
That holds up. Maybe you're onto something. Not a big fan of Steven Jackson in this game.
No.
But again, he's a starting running back, and at this point, you're pushing for the playoffs, so you might not have a better option. I think that game's pretty well covered. Let's go to Tennessee at Philly. I don't know what to do with the Philadelphia Eagles because they are now upside down from what they were previously, which is the Jeremy Maclin show has now gone into hiatus. And we're now watching Jordan Matthews go bonkers.
Yeah, if you were able to actually trade Maclin, like somehow you were just blessed with receiver riches and you got out from him a couple weeks ago, you definitely cleaned up because it puts a lot of us in an awkward situation if you've got Maclin. You can't bench the guy ever because of what he has the potential of. But yeah, for some reason Jordan Matthews is now the go-to guy. I don't even know what to say about it because it hurts. I'm in a situation where I am considering keeping Maclin, or I was,
right?
Because my other keeper was Gio Bernard. Now I don't really want to keep him. So, yeah, it sucks because I want to see at least one more big week out of him. Everyone does, and if you rode him this far, you're probably going to get into the playoffs. So now you're hoping that you can actually do something in the playoffs.
Right. This is the classic bad scenario for owners where the guy's great all year to the point where you can't bench him, but he doesn't perform, and you end up getting nailed about it in the playoffs or trying to make the playoffs. And
you probably didn't go get Matthews even if he was available because you already had Maclin. So you're like, why would I do that? So
now I think if you're gonna do something against anybody, it's Tennessee because they don't cover the deep pass well. They don't have a great defense overall. They're the 9th rated pass defense in the league, but I think that's kind of a mirage, being that they get killed on the run. So I think it's more or less just they're just giving up more running yards. I think with Philly, you got to play pretty much anybody on Philly. I know Zach Ertz has been a big disappointment, but there's not a lot of tight ends out there this week because Greg Olsen and Heath Miller on bye. So you could find a worse play than Zach Ertz. I love Jordan Matthews. I think the guy's going to have a big game today, and I think McCoy has the biggest game of all of them.
Well, that was the big thing. We get a lot of questions like for the show, but also from in personal, just friends talking like, what is McCoy? When is he going to break out? If there's going to be a week, it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
And you never know. He could start blossoming for the fantasy playoffs. And actually, if you somehow made it, drafting him early.
That would be the ultimate irony to have him as your number one pick and then struggle your way to like a 500 record or like a 8-5 record and manage to make the playoffs, and then he blows up for you. That'd be great. I traded for him in a league where I traded him for Steve Smith because the guy needed a receiver, and he was just tired of McCoy doing nothing. This was like a month ago.
Wow.
And I managed to make that happen. So I'm hoping for big things from McCoy this week, and I think it'll happen. You saw Le'Veon Bell chew up the Tennessee defense on Monday night.
Not to beat this into the ground, but the one thing I noticed, and it's hard not to if you're watching football and at least somewhat knowledgeable, McCoy just looks bad, though. He's running into tackles. He's not shifty at all. Which,
their offensive line's been banged up all year.
But he just has no elusiveness. I don't know. It feels like he has no burst or elusiveness.
He says he's the same guy, Mike. He was interviewed about it.
I mean, I've seen his commercial where he's doing sit-ups in his hotel room, and he smiles at his trainer. So I don't know.
He's working out all the time. Regardless, if you have LaShawn McCoy, you're not going to bench him,
right,
especially not against a terrible
he just looks different, that's all.
Do we like anybody on Tennessee?
No. Mettenberger puts up.
You didn't even think
No.
about it.
Mettenberger put up serviceable numbers because of just overall volume and garbage time against Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's we've established they're a bad defense.
Yeah. Well, Philly's no great shakes either.
No, but again, if you have a 2-quarterback league, yeah, he's maybe a flex for your second quarterback.
He's a volume play.
But yeah, if you have to start him, you're in bad shape.
Here's something that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to start Kendall Wright this week against Philly because he had a bunch of catches on Monday. Why not? Receiver
in flex,
sure.
I'm actually playing him over Sanu.
Yeah.
Because Sanu obviously was the benefit of just being the number one guy.
Right.
And AJ Green is definitely back.
And Houston loves to play Cincinnati. We'll go over that in a little bit.
But yeah, I like Kendall Wright as a flex. And Justin Hunter at one point, everyone was reporting that he had really good relationship and like chemistry with Mettenberger. It really hasn't. I mean,
but when has that ever panned out?
I mean, that's fine. They can go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and chill.
I can't remember the last time you heard about a guy having great chemistry with a guy in practice with no substantiation whatsoever, and it actually happened.
Yeah.
So I'll take Justin Hunter's value for what he's shown on the field, which is nothing.
Has Delaney Walker recovered consciousness?
Delaney Walker is upright.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's playing or not. I'm still looking for
he could be a decent play. I mean, again, it's rough on tight ends this week, honestly.
Yeah, it's a bad tight end week.
It's really bad.
For some ungodly reason.
As a guy who's been looking on the waiver wire in like 3 leagues to fill in for people, it's a bad week.
Well, we'll get into some deep dive tight ends for people that are in need of tight ends here as we go along through the games. Inactives are up. Delaney Walker is active. So Delaney Walker will play.
So he's breathing.
He is breathing. He is upright. He is
good.
Dressed. And
they reanimated him from that hit he took in Baltimore 2 weeks ago.
Next up is Detroit at New England. This is a real styles clash. I don't know what to say about this game other than the fact that the Lions play great defense, but they're in New England. So I don't like anybody on the Lions at this point. Calvin Johnson may or may not be 100%. He is playing, obviously.
This is setting up for a dud from Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
honestly, it really is.
He's either going to face Revis or he's going to get beat up by Brandon Browner all game.
The reports largely this week have been that they're going to probably situate Revis on Golden Tate, and then they're going to let Browner just physically try to abuse Johnson and just bother his timing and stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They don't call him Megatron because he's a wuss, but I don't think you're going to see... If you're him, you don't see a guy like Brandon Browner every day.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", 220.
And how nice is it for the Patriots? They always pull this crap off where they get some guy who's on a horrible suspension. They have a magical first half of the season after starting horribly, and then they're hitting their stride and pick up a guy who's an all-pro.
Yeah.
Who's a physical specimen. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
They go pick up Revis, and Revis is Revis again. They go pick up Browner off the, not the scrap heap. He had some appeal, but you're right. He wasn't like the most desired guy out there.
But no, I mean, again, still good, but like no one wanted to touch him because of his suspension.
He has off the field issues.
And they're just like, we'll just let you go handle your suspension thing, and then we'll make do.
We'll pick up Jonas Gray, who is on everybody's practice squad.
We'll go 8-2, and then when you come back, it'll be good times.
It'll be just bonus time. We're a little bitter about the Patriots. Yeah. I'm not, though, because I won money on them in Vegas. But other than that, I don't know why the Patriots were 3-point dogs to the Colts last week, even though the Colts were at home. I think anybody that was paying attention is going to see that coming a mile away.
It's Andrew Luck factor. People love Andrew Luck and think that he can overcome anything.
The Colts aren't as good as their record indicates.
Nope.
The Patriots love to beat good public teams on national TV. Anyway, that's the past.
No, it's true.
But I do not like Matt Stafford this week. I do not like Tate or Johnson this week, although you probably don't have much of a choice but to start them.
You're just praying, but it doesn't set up well for them.
Reggie Bush isn't playing, which means Joik Bell's actually a legit play.
And Theo Riddick.
The Patriots can be taking advantage of a little bit on the run. However, I don't know that this game doesn't go the way of the Patriots scoring a bunch of points right off the bat, and you can't run because you have to try and throw your way back into the game
and
if you're Detroit.
Again, if that does happen, then Stafford could have garbage time value, but it's still...
The Patriots don't give up garbage time, though.
They just keep the starters in.
They just keep beating the crap out of you over and over again. I mean, this isn't on TV nationally, but this is a game where people are going to pay attention.
Yeah.
Detroit's a good team. They love to beat these teams
that
are supposed to contend with them. So... like I said, if you got Golden Tate, you can't bench Golden Tate. If you got Calvin Johnson, you can't bench them. But I wouldn't have any expectations that they're going to do anything.
Also, okay.
Stafford's got 13 touchdowns and 9 picks.
I know. He hasn't had
He didn't have a single game over 2 touchdowns for the year. It ain't going to happen here.
Yeah.
So,
no, you're right. So, on the flip side of the ball, Jonas Gray with a historic performance for the ages on Monday night. Someone probably won $1 million thing on DraftKings because of him, probably, or at least placed in good money.
Somebody reached.
Yeah. Shout out to Kirk, by the way, who is not with us today. He was in second place going into Monday night in a DraftKings like 4,000 player thing. He won some decent money.
Nice.
Someone did sneak up on him with Jonas Gray though, and he was getting really worried because how are you expecting 4 touchdowns? And he did actually get over 200 yards after a stat correction.
Yep.
But yeah, here's the thing. I might need to help him out, given what I do for a living. His cell phone didn't work apparently, and he missed practice. He showed up late. Jonas Gray.
I was talking about Kirk.
No.
Kirk missed practice?
No,
Jonas Gray did miss practice. He was held out for a
Which
game.
means, guess what? LeGarrette Blount's back in New England, and he will be running wild because Jonas Gray will probably not get as many carries as he's supposed to.
Yeah, nobody holds a grudge for crazy player, misconduct things like Bill Belichick. Here's the thing. Detroit is a great run defense.
Right. I mean, he wasn't a great play anyway. He was primed for a letdown, but I don't know if he's going to see the field.
He'll play. Gray will play. But,
I don't know. This is setting up to be a nice week for Vereen, though.
I think Vereen is probably your best bet out of the New England running backs, but that's like walking on a tightrope.
Yeah.
We've been burned by Shane Vereen how many times this year?
It's starting to get fun, though. It's like a scratch-off ticket.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Detroit's got a good defense. I like the under in this game. I don't like New England to go out and score 1 million points in this game, but they're going to win. You got to play Gronk, obviously. That's the dumbest fantasy advice you'll get all weekend. I do like Edelman because he apparently will play. I think Brandon LaFell can do some things, but you sure as heck don't want to go and run one of those running backs up in there other than Vereen, probably.
No.
The teams that'll lose this week are the teams with Jonas Gray that go and play him and go, oh, he's going to have another 4 touchdowns again.
Yeah, don't be that guy or girl. Don't do that.
Oh, Kirk just tweeted in. So what do you mean Mettenberger put up points in garbage time? They lost by 3 points.
What I meant by that, Kirk, was the whole game was garbage.
The whole game was garbage.
So the whole time he was playing, he put up points in that time. Therefore, it was garbage time.
If he has time to tweet into you guys, he can
Wow.
be here.
Wow.
That's like posting to Facebook when you call out of work.
Yep.
So
The overlord is giving the old Vince McMahonism of you can be just as effective at work as you can at home, even when you're sick.
That's what I get.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next game here. Green Bay at Minnesota. And we gave a little bit of info on Minnesota's running back situation. Jerick McKinnon is active. Asiata is not. And Ben Tate will play.
All right, so real quick, as many times this year as things have seemed obvious, 100% obvious, could we see a game here? Is there any chance that this is a game?
No.
What I'm saying is that this is the most obvious play of the history of football, that Green Bay should have 45 points by halftime.
Yeah.
But this season, how many times has this not come true?
Remember the last time they played Minnesota, which was a Thursday night game, and they beat them so bad that nobody even watched the second half of that game. It was horrible. Now, you're right. The law of the NFL is that things never happen the same way 2 weeks in a row or 2 matchups in a row or whatever, but I'm sorry. I can't see it. Green Bay should go out there and destroy them.
Now, here's the other thing. Does Aaron Rodgers have, and I know this because I have him in a couple leagues, thankfully. I'm not complaining. Does he have another 190-yard, 3-touchdown game, and then they don't play him? You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, because it's a divisional game on the road, which means I think it's going to be a good game for him in that they beat them soundly, but it's not like
it's still close
obliteration,
And basically, though, I think in the NFL, if you're still within 3 touchdowns late in the third quarter, you're still in the game.
Your foot's on the gas if you're the team ahead. If you've got a 20-point lead, but it's only the third.
But they've
quarter.
stretched leads to like 30, 40 points in
they
the past couple weeks.
They're like the Patriots. They don't give up. They don't get. They kept scoring on Philly last week until like 5 minutes left in the game or something. It was crazy. They don't let up.
So we like all Green Bay players.
Yeah.
But you really don't. I mean, who can you play at this point on Minnesota? Really? You could take a chance with one of the running backs.
If you got to play McKinnon, you got to play McKinnon. I've got him in a couple of leagues. To give you an example, I am benching Jerick McKinnon, and I am playing ahead of him between running backs and flex. Andre Ellington at Seattle. I'm playing Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Jordan Matthews. So that gives you some idea of where I'm at as far as McKinnon's concerned. I love McKinnon. If somebody's going to take a 5-yard swing pass and take it to the house, it's going to be McKinnon.
Right.
You can run on Green Bay, but if it goes like it's supposed to go and they go out and get a big lead, they're not going to run. I mean, it's exactly what happened the last time. They played on Thursday night. Green Bay got out to a big lead, and the running backs never saw the ball. So they've come out and said that they're committed to McKinnon as the starter, but you wouldn't have gone and picked up Ben Tate if you were committed to McKinnon as the starter. So whatever. Coaches lie all the time. It's going to be a very one-sided game, especially in fantasy. If you've got a Green Bay player, you're happy about it. If you've got the Vikings, you're stuck.
Green Bay's defense hasn't looked dominant, but I think you do play them this week, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Green Bay's defense is a very good play.
Minnesota's inept and they like turning the ball over.
If you're going to get cute and start Kyle Rudolph on a bad tight end week, as we've talked about, I would not, because he hasn't played full-time. He's been healthy, but he hasn't played every snap. They're trying to work him back in slowly. And again, I don't think this is a game where they pass a lot. Or I don't think this is a game where you're going to get a lot of production out of Minnesota overall. So I would stay away from Kyle Rudolph unless it's absolutely necessary. Next up, Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
Another obvious, where you're like, oh, we know what's going to happen here.
I mean, if you're a fan of teasers, you're going Green Bay, Indy all day long.
Yeah.
You're probably going to lose that game one way or the other because that's how betting works.
Right.
But I'm not going to be the one to tell you how, because it looks like they should crush Jacksonville.
So Mr. Luck should have he didn't have a horrible game last week, but I think this is a bounce back 4-touchdown game. You would hope.
I mean, the last time he played Jacksonville, he destroyed them.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was in Jacksonville. This is in the Dome. Plus the fact that they don't have Bradshaw.
Right.
So Bradshaw's hurt. He's out for the year. If you're trying to decide whether to play Trent Richardson or not, I'm terribly sorry. That's a horrible decision to have to make.
Let's put it this way. You know what's going to happen. It's not going to work for you.
No.
I don't
Trent
care.
Richardson's not a good
He could be
football
a starter at this point on like a Pop Warner coaches gathering team where all the coaches play flag football, and the kids watch, and I don't think he's going to really do much. So,
So
temper your expectations.
So if we're talking about hot guys, hashtag hot guys, this
and when aren't we really?
This guy's going to play, and he's got a great nickname. Dan Boom Heron is going to play. And I don't know what to say about Dan Boom Heron. Jacksonville's not awful against the rush. And I don't get a feeling that Indianapolis really even cares if they can rush.
They don't want to run. They don't even care about running the ball.
They're going to be the 1994 Houston Oilers out there.
They might as well go 6
run
receivers
and shoot.
wide. Just as many receivers as you can jam out there and just throw the ball in the air.
This isn't much of a limb to go out on, but if you have to start one of these guys at running back, start Heron. At least you got some upside. I mean,
there is zero upside to Trent Richardson.
No, Trent Richardson's upside is 3 yards and a shot to the ribs. I like all the Indianapolis receivers. I think Hilton has a big game. I think Wayne catches a touchdown. Kobe Fleener's a hot pickup.
All right, so after we discussed last week that, and I was just quoting Yahoo. They literally said he's bad. He's a bad football player, and then he goes out when Dwayne Allen goes down, and it just terrorizes.
Is Kobe Fleener's a bad football player?
Yeah, they were like he had a ball bounce off of his face in the end zone. He's just not good at football.
Please.
So they're obviously wrong, but so yeah, but that's another letdown guy. I mean, if you had him last week or you need a tight end this week, he's definitely a play because Dwayne Allen's out.
Dwayne Allen's inactive.
Right. So he's a play, but I wouldn't.
Had 11 catches.
He had a
last
career
week.
high in yardage and catches, I believe, both last week.
If Kobe Fleener doesn't have a decent game for you, I'm going to be very shocked. Let's put it that way.
Right. In this week, sure. But if there were actually other people not on bye and starting, he would not be. But I mean, whatever.
I don't know, man. They throw a lot.
They do.
They throw a lot.
But you just mentioned they have a lot of good targets.
They're going to... Okay, let's put it this way. If they score 5 touchdowns, that's 35 points.
Mm-hmm.
They do that every week.
Pretty much.
You mean to tell me that Fleener's not going to have 1?
You're right.
And 7 or 8 catches?
Why don't you just go make him your hashtag hot guy?
He's my hashtag hot guy of the week. He's got long hair.
Fleener?
He's talented.
Are you taking it?
I'm taking him. He's my hot guy of the week.
There you go.
Hot guys. I mean, I don't know where to set, just coming back from Vegas, I don't know where to set the line for Kobe Fleener. Probably 7 catches.
When we're picking a hashtag hot guy, it's pretty, unless it's a head-to-head hot guy showdown, like me and Tony have had. If it's just you're throwing out your hot guy, he has to score a touchdown, or it's double-digit points.
Double-digit points non-PPR?
Yeah,
Sure.
basically.
Okay.
Even though we love PPR, as a qualifier,
All right.
you have to score double-digit
So double
points.
digits or 15 in a PPR.
Yeah.
I'll take Kobe Fleener as my hot guy. Sure,
Okay.
why not?
Cool.
As far as Jacksonville goes, Denard Robinson's good.
Love him.
We like Denard Robinson.
He is my DraftKings darling. And I
Yeah.
wish I had him in
Yeah,
real
yeah.
fantasy too, but I love that guy in DraftKings.
Yeah, no, he's probably very cheap in DraftKings just because they're kind of behind the curve on these things.
His points have risen a little bit, but he's doing all right. He's a good play.
I also like Cecil Shorts. I'm starting Cecil Shorts.
You're saluting your shorts?
I'm saluting my shorts. There's a throwback. Shorts is a very talented receiver that Blake Bortles seems to like, and Indy's prone to giving up points, so why not? They're gonna have to throw.
And in a true garbage time scenario, that could easily happen.
Yeah,
they're not going to bench Bortles. They're not going to bench their starters because they
Right.
don't really have a backup squad.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have.
Their
much
team
of-
is a backup squad.
Their team is a backup squad. Basically.
So
Cecil Shorts and Denard Robinson are actually pretty
Yep.
good plays, even though we don't think Jacksonville can hang with Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It's going to be some garbage time. Cincy at Houston. Nobody loves playing another team more than the Houston Texans love to play the Cincinnati Bengals.
they've got their number, man. I mean, this is not a playoff game like
Yeah.
it usually is.
They've
but
knocked them out of the playoffs twice. They've beaten them other times too.
So Cincinnati looked bad for a couple weeks. They looked real good last week. No, I'm saying so.
No, it's true.
Are they back on the
I'm laughing
upswing?
because it makes
or-
no sense. I'm laughing because I'm sitting there in the Aria Casino last week. By the way, thanks Aria. It was a great weekend. like they sponsored
Like they
me.
comped you.
Like they comped me or something. No, I didn't even stay at
They're
the Aria.
thanking you for all the money you gave them.
I stayed at the Tropicana. Not fun at the Tropicana, by the way. Where was I going on this? Oh, I'm sitting in the sports book at the Aria, and everybody's looking at the TV going, why isn't Denver scoring more points? And why is Cincinnati beating New Orleans? This
Doesn't
makes
make
no
any
sense. Here's why. New Orleans is terrible. We're going to get to them in a little bit. And Cincinnati's the most up and down team in the NFL. In a league of up and down teams, nobody's more up and down than Cincinnati.
And to continue that trend, Cincinnati got their number one what we thought was their number one running back. But they even have admitted now that Hill is going to get the timeshare, the load of it. And so everyone that had Bernard either kept him, drafted him highly. It sucks right now. And I can explain,
It's almost worse now than it was when he was hurt.
It was.
Because now he's going to play, but you don't know how much.
Yeah.
You don't know how effective he's going to be. And they're playing a team that loves to destroy the Cincinnati Bengals. J.J. Watt loves to eat Andy Dalton's lunch. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic for the Houston Texans. So
Can we just make him the Oilers again?
that would be good. That being said,
I miss Warren
the
Moon.
Bengals do have some talented players. There's no way I would start Andy Dalton. I would start Jeremy Hill. Sure, why not? The guy's played very well, except for the one game against Cleveland. Had a big game last week, so Jeremy Hill's a definite start. I think if you have Gio Bernard, if you're in a PPR league, you start him. If you're in a non-PPR league, you try not to.
The indicators right now are that he will be worked in more in passing downs and scenarios, and the bulk of just the heavy lifting is going to be done by Hill.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, flex-wise, you can kind of temper your expectations, but like me, you probably have to start him because he was a high pick, and I didn't get Jeremy Hill. So, yeah. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't like Sanu. Even though the Houston secondary is putrid, Dalton has to get the ball out there.
Dalton's gonna
And we
be
saw a
under
couple
pressure
weeks
the
ago
whole
where
game.
he literally, he had like a 2 passer rating.
Yeah.
Legitimately. So he's going to be terrorized all day. You got to play AJ Green, and I think he will break loose for a couple of big touchdown or a couple of big plays leading to at least one touchdown. Yeah. But yeah, Sanu is the type of guy where he's got the ability to get open. I just don't know if he's going to get the looks. Honestly, he's going to have time.
I don't think they're going to score a whole lot of points in this game, to be honest. Foster's out, which means if you are an owner that picked up Alfred Blue and you don't have Foster, you just picked up an extra starting running back. I'd play him. The guy Alfred Blue played really well last week. 150 yards plus. Didn't get in the end zone, but played really well against the Cleveland team that has a decent defense. Ryan Mallett's not a horrible starting quarterback. He's certainly no worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick was. So if you got Alfred Blue, make him a start. The Cincinnati Bengals are not what they used to be on defense. They do allow 136 rushing yards a game. So as far as the receivers, I don't know what to make of Andre Johnson. Guy's got 1 touchdown on the year. I think I'd probably play him in this game unless you've got a really great option. But
yeah, I mean, it's always a coin flip now, week in and week out. DeAndre Hopkins, his talent level and his experience is rising, whereas Andre Johnson's winding down a little bit. Yeah. So they're kind of meeting at the middle. I'd
definitely rather have Hopkins than Johnson.
Right.
But I think Johnson is viable if you need a receiver that badly. I wouldn't necessarily start either quarterback in this game. Mallett had a decent game last week, but it wasn't anything all that impressive statistically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Last game at 1 o'clock, Tampa at Chicago. The Buccaneers were the other big surprise last week, although I don't think it was that big a shocker that the Redskins are horrible. But everybody's written off Tampa as this horrendous team, but I think they can move the ball a little bit. Mike Evans has been a revelation for them. They're playing the Bears, and the Bears, for some reason, don't like to play at home, and they like to give up yardage. So what do we think of Tampa?
In this game, I think they put up points. I mean, I've actually talked to a few people who, due to injuries and people just quarterback hoarding for no reason, are starting McCown.
It's not a bad play.
Again, it's the Bears defense. I don't expect them to be locking anyone down anytime soon. Mike Evans, you can't expect him to go for 200 every week, but he's going to have another nice game.
You're going to have to start Mike Evans because
absolutely
nobody on Chicago can hang with the guy that's that big.
Now, it's still, in my opinion, I don't care what Chicago's defense is good or not. You have no idea what's going on in the backfield with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So stay away from that mess.
The Tampa running back situation's a disaster. If you're going to start somebody, start Charles Sims. Sims will play. But I don't like Doug Martin. Nobody likes Doug Martin, and apparently Bobby Rainey is not a favorite in that clubhouse. So
Tampa Bay doesn't even like Doug Martin.
No, nobody likes Doug Martin. If you got to start somebody, it's Sims, who came back last week off of an ankle injury and is back on the injury list with an ankle injury. But he is supposed to play, so at least that's somebody. As far as Chicago, you're gonna have to play everybody on Chicago, and I'd feel pretty good about it. Everybody that's supposed to be active is active.
Yeah.
Martellus Bennett is in some circles some sort of fantasy comeback kid, although I don't buy it.
I mean, I've been trying to buy it for the past couple weeks, and he's another one that I'm running into a headache this week at tight end because I don't trust him. It should be fantasy gold, but it's not.
If you got to play him, you got to play him. It's an offense that's good and scores points, but Bennett hasn't done much in the past month and a half, really.
Yeah.
I like Jay Cutler in this game. I think if you've got to get desperate at quarterback, like you said, McCown's not a bad play. I don't like either defense, even though both these teams like to turn the ball over, but I don't think either defense is that great. That's about all you can say about these two teams. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Take the over. Let's go to 4 o'clock. I want to save that game for a minute. Okay. Redskins at San Francisco. Dear God, I don't even know what's going to happen in this game. There could be a crater left behind that is the Washington Redskins.
Here's what we're thinking, or at least what I'm thinking. Yeah, the Redskins are going across country to play the 49ers, who are a nasty defense. Not exactly what they used to be. They've had some injuries, but they're still nasty. If they couldn't get it done against Tampa Bay, the Redskins aren't getting it done against San Francisco. Michael Crabtree obviously got sick of our foot rolling on ball jokes because he can't. Yeah, he had a nice game last week, caught a touchdown.
Yeah.
But again, it's the Redskins.
This is probably going to be the ugliest 15-6 game you're going to see all day. I don't think San Francisco goes out and scores a ton of points, but they're not going to let Washington do anything.
Well, here's the thing. I don't watch a lot of Redskins football, thankfully, but the thing I know about them, one of their strengths is they do tend to put together a pass rush, or they try to, on defense. But then you got Kaepernick who can get away from it. Yeah. That's the thing. So, that's what I'm saying is I don't think it's going to be low scoring for the 49ers or for the Redskins. I think the 49ers are going to put up more than 15.
Here's a wacky prediction. The top scoring fantasy player in this game is going to be the Niners defense.
I like it.
Better than quarterbacks, better than running backs, better than anybody on either team. The Niners defense is going to have a better game than them.
RG3 got sacked 6 times last week.
What do you say about RG3? Everybody wants him to be good. Everybody wants him to be a top quarterback. They surround him with good receivers. Pierre Garçon, by the way, is a non-existent fantasy player
That hurts
anymore.
me.
I don't even know how that happened, but you can't play Pierre Garçon.
Jordan Reed is out,
Jordan Reed's out. If you
adding to the tight end troubles. So Niles Paul then steps in.
if you're stocked at running back, you could bench Alfred Morris today.
Yeah.
Because the Niners aren't going to let him do anything. Nobody on Washington's worth playing, and really nobody on San Francisco's worth playing.
I think Bolden will have his way in PPR leagues. He'll get.
Bolden's probably not a bad play, and in all honesty, I joke about the Niners defense outscoring Kaepernick. It could happen, but Kaepernick could have a decent game, but it's not going to look pretty. And, I'm so tired of watching Colin Kaepernick throw for 180 yards and a touchdown every week. It's like, come on, man, you're better than this. But anyway, there's not much else to talk about in this game because it should be a real grinder, and it should be a San Francisco win. Next up would be Miami at Denver. This could be a good game. Miami's a better team than everybody gives them credit for. They don't necessarily win all the time, but they at least keep it close.
They've got good talent. Their defense is better than everyone expected and still expects week in and week out. But Manning with a week to prepare after dropping one touchdown on the Rams, I think is going to be pretty fired up. You do have to expect that Miami traveling out to Denver is going to hurt them a little bit as far as their defense,
but
being
they're not
able
a
to
bad
keep
road
up.
team, though.
No, but I'm just saying I expect the Broncos to get back on track. But the question marks are Julius Thomas is, they literally quote unquote said, a true game time decision, which screws everyone.
I don't think he plays.
I don't think he does too, but you can't start Jacob Tamme. He looked awful when he filled in a couple weeks ago for him.
Yeah, no, Jacob Tammy's not a good football player.
And then, so that hurts Manning a little bit. Also, what could hurt Manning is Sanders. Now, he's passed the concussion protocol, apparently. But, again, do you want to put that guy... By God. When that happened...
That hit was so horrendous.
Oh, man.
And it was completely legal. It was like the perfect storm of just getting somebody's head kicked in.
Well, I didn't get to see it live, and then so someone linked me to the Vine that someone had, and I see Manning throw the ball. I don't see a defender in sight.
No, it's not.
He's completely out of... No, I'm saying there's no defender in the whole frame on the broadcast, and then all of a sudden, he just flies out of nowhere and just literally, Sanders does a complete 180 from head diving forward to head going backwards and slamming into the turf.
He got. That's for sure. But,
I don't know if he has a family or not, but if he did, then
that man has a family.
Jim Ross is screaming somewhere.
Emmanuel Sanders, like you said, he may play after taking that
which
hit,
is incredible.
Which is, if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about the concussion situation in human biology, I don't know what else. Because you see guys get, their teammate pats them on the head and they get a concussion. They're out for 3 weeks. This guy could be back the next week after getting one of the most horrendous hits that we've seen all year.
After that hit, I expected them to open his brain up, like his skull cap, lobotomy,
style.
and let his brain just breathe.
Just let his brain breathe.
Because it was hurting, So
hashtag let your brain breathe. Breathe. I don't think he plays. I've got to be honest. If he's going through the concussion protocol and he hasn't been, you said he passed every stage.
I thought so. I'll double check.
I thought I read that he was still hanging on to the last stage and trying to get through it. He's not a full participant at practice. I know that much. I'm telling you, man. If Sanders doesn't play and if Thomas doesn't play, this game could be closer than you think.
But Demaryius is going to have nice stats.
Demaryius always has nice stats.
Not always.
Their running back situation's a disaster too.
Yeah,
as it always is. Monte Ball. By the way, Monte Ball. You're never gonna be on my team again, Monte Ball.
That was the kiss of death.
Kiss me somewhere where I cannot say, because you've ruined so many fantasy matchups for me that I managed to have you on teams, drop him, pick him up last week, play him, and get screwed again. So never again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, whatever that expression is. Monte Ball's never going to be on a fantasy team for me ever again. I cannot do it. And I'm one of these guys that doesn't have fantasy kryptonite or whatever, and I keep everything objective. Never again will I be burned by Monte Ball. Ever.
Okay, so here's the word.
Give me the word on Emmanuel Sanders.
Denver Post, all signs point toward Sanders playing. He is officially listed as probable. He returned to practice Friday and has cleared all the necessary hurdles that the NFL has designed for players coming off concussions. So that's according to the Denver Post, also Yahoo.
The good news is that you have more than normal 4 o'clock games, and you have this bonus Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you end up needing Sanders and he doesn't play, you at least have room to operate here with some other teams. All right, sure, okay. I hope he plays. He's a good player. I mean,
Yeah.
You know. As far as Miami's concerned, Lamar Miller is an injury concern. We won't know anything about him until game time. Tannehill's a good start. I think they're going to have to throw to keep up.
What about this Jarvis Landry fella? He's looked good. He's had double-digit points in PPR in the past like 3-4 weeks straight.
I gotta think you gotta have better options than Jarvis Landry on the road. I mean,
but he's one of those guys that if you are already locked in or you're expecting to make the playoffs, definitely try to pick him up and I think he can help. I really do.
Yeah.
PPR wise.
In PPR maybe. Yeah.
Because they're still going to be a competitive team. They're fighting for a wild card spot.
He's not a bad player, but there's so many receivers out there to pick from. But yeah, no, in a PPR league, he's not a bad option if you need somebody.
You think Mike Wallace beat someone deep for a touchdown today?
I don't know.
Because if he doesn't, he's not worth playing. That's
Right.
the thing. That's his gimmick. So
I think. Well, here's the thing. I think Tannehill can have a decent game, spreading it around to 4 or 5 guys, and not one of them has a great game on the other end of it. Charles Clay's an injury concern too, but we won't know about him until game time on a week with bad tight ends. St. Louis at San Diego. These are 2 teams that I can't figure out.
no one can figure
Nobody
these
can
teams
figure
out.
these teams
So
out.
our best guess is Rivers should have an okay game, but I mean Manning only put up 7 points against him.
Yeah, but you
So-
can't. I mean, that's sort of an anomaly. But yeah, I mean, Rivers is hurt. Rivers has got a rib injury. He's also a little bit banged up in the ankle area. We don't really know if Ryan Matthews is going to play. There's a lot of question marks on San Diego's offense. St. Louis isn't as good as they showed last week. They're just not. I think that was like their best game of the season. Even when they beat Seattle, they weren't that good because they beat Seattle with some gimmickry and some weird stuff.
Everyone's favorite head case, Kenny Britt, had a game, and he was a popular ad this week in a lot of formats.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's the thing is you've got Sean Hill, who looks like someone's dad legitimately. Like got off the riding mower after cutting the grass and is throwing the
that's
football
all right.
around.
Maryland
So,
alum.
yeah, shout outs, Terps. With a big win over Michigan, a putrid Michigan team, by the way.
The Terps, by the way, I felt like such a traitor. I took the Terps in a parlay with Florida State because I knew that the Terps were going to get beat by Michigan State like a drum. Like, it wasn't even going to be close.
Oh, Michigan State, yeah.
And sure enough, it wasn't.
I
took them last week.
All right, yeah.
They beat Michigan, but that's college football.
Everyone beats Michigan.
Florida State was the one that made me sweat, which I didn't think, that was going to be the case either. But in any event, St. Louis Rams aren't as good as they looked last week. I'm sorry. I still think that San Diego can have a decent game. I like Malcolm Floyd in this game.
Yeah, what an annoying player if you're a fantasy owner, because he takes stuff away from you that
Sure.
that, that you feel like you deserved if you have Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I know you don't want to hear
Gates.
this either, but Keenan Allen's getting like 11 targets a game. At some point, he's going to do something.
Well, I'm starting him. Like I said, I don't feel good about it, but I feel like I have to start him right because he's getting looks. In that game, like I said, Trey Mason is a popular topic because he ran kind of wild last week.
Yeah.
He's looking like the strongest guy of the bunch. Everyone else besides Benny Cunningham is officially off the like. Zach Stacy might as well be bagging groceries at this point. Which, by the way, I said from the very beginning, I was like, if you're drafting Zach Stacy, you're in trouble. Like if you're drafting him in the first like 3 rounds,
you were
I was
on
like, he's
the
bad.
Oppo Zach
He's
Stacy
a bad
bandwagon.
player. But anyway, so Trey Mason, he's another player that I have him in flex in a couple leagues, fortunately, and I think he could be good going forward for the rest of the season. Like I think he can be an asset because they're going to rely on him, and he's got skills. He's a guy that can bounce it to the outside.
San Diego's defense certainly hasn't impressed anybody, really. I mean, they've had a couple of good games against bad teams, but
Is it safe to say that he's pretty much one of the only like startable players on the Rams this
he's
week?
the only startable player on the Rams this week. I don't buy Kenny Britt for a second.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going to have, San Diego's defense is out there trying to stop him, basically, because they don't have anybody else to throw to. This is a garbage game. Let's move on. The best 4 o'clock game out there, if you're a football fan, is Arizona at Seattle.
Should be interesting.
Should be very interesting.
Now, am I a dummy? Because I'm starting Drew Stanton in a league.
Wow.
I had Nick
Is this
Foles.
the 2 quarterback league?
No, I had Nick Foles. This is our podcast league.
You're starting Drew Stanton.
Yes.
At Seattle,
Yes.
you have chutzpah, my friend. You have cojones. Are there any other options?
Let's run them down real quick.
Let's take a look.
Some people could be in my situation right now.
Wow.
I hope you're not.
I would not start Drew Stanton at Seattle.
By the way, I'm first in this league. Just throwing it out there.
He is first in this league, which I don't get. I locked up a playoff spot last week, by the way, but that's neither here nor there.
So, all right, I got Drew Stanton going in. I have Cam Newton on bye, and I had Nick Foles before he got broken.
All right, who's on the waiver wire?
So, waiver wire.
You got at least 3 teams in this league that do not pay attention anymore.
Yeah,
so
but
maybe
also
there's
those are the
somebody
same
out
teams that drafted 2 to 3 quarterbacks.
Oh, of course.
So,
Of course.
it happens.
Who we got? Let's take a look. Let's do some fantasy RX over here.
All right, so we have got a guy we haven't talked about yet, but a guy who was rated. I saw in an article this week, someone who should bench themselves in Eli Manning.
Oh God, no! Eli
Going
Manning.
against Dallas tonight.
I don't want Eli.
Alex Smith already played. Andy Dalton.
No.
Derek Carr already played. Brian Hoyer against Atlanta. That's someone sort of viable, sort of. Bortles at Indianapolis.
No.
Yeah.
God, you might have started Drew Stanton.
Right. I mean that.
Wow.
Teddy Bridge.
No.
Teddy Bridgewaters.
No.
Sanchez. Huh?
I would start Sanchez.
You think I should go?
You just found
Sanchez?
yourself a winner. They're playing Tennessee.
I know.
Start Sanchez.
Come on.
Why
really?
am I helping him? I'm in the same league with him. Why
You're
am I
my
helping
brother.
him?
That's why.
true. We are related by blood.
All
I
right.
would start
Wait a minute.
Sanchez.
So,
and it wouldn't even be close for me.
so should I make a bet with myself who does better here and somehow penalize myself?
Make a bet with yourself? What? Make a bet with yourself?
Life penalties. You know I'm big on those.
Penalties.
So, am I really going to pick up Mark Sanchez?
Yes. It's Drew Stanton. What am I supposed to be impressed by Drew Stanton? I mean, yeah, he didn't have a bad game last week.
2 touchdowns.
Hooray. Mark Sanchez can throw 2 touchdowns in his sleep against Tennessee.
Never say that again.
Well, okay.
Oh, you added the against Tennessee.
I'm not saying Mark Sanchez is a good quarterback.
I was going to say, are you doing his cornrows now?
No,
What's going
I'm
on
in
here?
no way saying Mark Sanchez is
Do you
a
have
good
that signed
quarterback.
photo of him as a lifeguard?
No.
Do you want me to get you that for your birthday?
No. I'm in no way saying Mark Sanchez is a good quarterback.
All right, this is going live right now.
He's
I'm
at
adding
home
Mark
against
Sanchez.
Tennessee. Make that happen.
All right, get back to Arizona.
All right.
I don't think Stanton's as bad as people think he is, but
He is at Seattle.
yeah.
Yes. Here's the thing. I thought about benching Andre Ellington this week because they're in Seattle, much less starting Drew Stanton. Now, granted, this obviously
Can't wait for Stanton to
This
get
obviously
4
means Stanton
touchdowns.
throws 4 touchdowns this week. We all know that's going to happen. In all seriousness, Larry Fitzgerald may not play. He's got a sprained MCL.
He probably shouldn't play.
He probably
but
shouldn't play, but there's been other instances where he shouldn't have played where he did. I don't know. I don't like any of the Arizona Cardinals out there running around against Sherman and all the rest of these guys. Seattle's not what they used to be, but they're still pretty close at home. As far as Seattle goes, Marshawn Lynch is good, but they're going against a great run defense. So I can't see this game being high scoring or fantasy
right.
rich.
This
in
is
any
mediocrity
way.
encompassed.
I wouldn't start Russell Wilson. We've got the Arizona defense in one league.
Yeah.
And I looked. There aren't any other great options.
you just ride with them.
So you're just going to have to ride with them. They find weird ways to score points.
If
so
you
we'll see what happens.
were sitting on Michael Floyd or went up and grabbed him and he's had 2 good weeks, Stanton apparently does like him quite a bit. And if Fitzgerald's out, he's going to get some looks. You know what I mean? He is a deep threat guy.
If Fitzgerald's out, you could convince me to play Michael Floyd. But
Yeah.
that's really about it.
So let's go on.
It's going to be a low-scoring game. The opposite of which, here's a segue, Dallas at New York Giants this evening. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. It's in New York. Eli's going to be throwing it all over the place.
To the other team and to his
To
own
both
team.
teams, of course.
Maybe to the crowd.
Who knows? He could be going 7 deep. You got to play all your guys here. You got to play Murray. You got to play Dez Bryant. You got to play Romo.
Jason Witten?
I love Jason Witten in
Yeah.
this game. Sure. I like
He
Larry
started-
Donnell in this game.
Okay, that was my question. Yeah, Donnell, he's a player that just makes you, cringe a little bit because he had, a couple monster games and then he just disappears.
Yeah, but every tight end has terrible games every
But
once in a while.
in a rough tight end week, I guess he's almost at the top of the crop here. Because
Here's another fun thing I saw
Yeah.
as I was sitting in the sports book last week. So the Giants need a touchdown with 3 minutes left. They're on the 4-yard line. Here's the series of plays that they run. High spot fade to Ruben Randall.
Who's not really that guy.
He's not that good.
No.
High spot fade to Beckham?
Yeah, probably.
I think.
Yeah.
Which is better, but not great. Third down. High spot fade, Larry Donnell. Okay. You're going to run it at some point, maybe? And then fourth down, they run some crazy, hitch out of the backfield to somebody and throw a pick.
Yep. They're an awful team.
Their play calling is terrible.
Yeah. Which,
Now,
good segue into Rashard Jennings.
well, here's the thing about
Who's been
Rashard
disappointing.
Jennings. Rashard Jennings is going to get a full complement of work in a game that there's going to need to be a lot of scoring. I like Rashard Jennings. Now, on our combined league, we're going to have to bench him
Yeah.
because we've got Jeremy Hill and we've got Jamal Charles that played for us, and our flex spot is being filled by Julio Jones. Mm-hmm. So we can't play him.
Embarrassment of riches.
Embarrassment of riches, folks. If you got Rashard Jennings in any sort of league, you pretty much have to play him because he's a starting running back on a team that's going to score some points. Now, in the red zone, as we just talked about, they love to throw for some ungodly reason. But you could see Rashard Jennings catch a ball out of the backfield for a touchdown. You could see him get a rushing touchdown. They're going to have to score, and they're going to have to get points to be in this game at all. There's pretty much nobody on either team that you could see starting that I would say not to start. Like we said, I don't like Ruben Randall that much,
No.
but you could still start him. He could be a number 3 wide receiver. We're running close on time here. Monday Night Football. You get a bonus Monday Night Football game this week.
We do get a bonus Monday Night Football
Although
game.
it's a total turd. It's Giants at Buffalo by way of Detroit. Because they're going to play at Ford Field.
Oh, you mean Jets. You said Giants.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jets
yeah.
at Bills
Yep.
by way of Detroit.
I mean, it'll be fun as a historical anomaly because this doesn't happen very often. But yeah, it should be a pretty putrid game. Buffalo's defense, play
I love
'em.
the Bills defense.
Yeah,
in this
play
game.
them. It's Michael Vick. Whatever. There's no skill players on the Jets that I would even consider ever. Buffalo, you could conceivably throw Sammy Watkins out there if he's healthy.
I'm playing Sammy Watkins in the league. I like Sammy.
So
We don't know who's playing running back for the Bills. Fred Jackson is probably going to play, but we don't know, and it's Monday night, so you
Yeah.
can't really risk that.
no. So yeah, forget that game. Let's go into the one that we care about.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Our home team Ravens coming off of a
against the
week,
Saints.
a long bye week, and
Yes.
it's an extra day against the Saints, who are trying to not lose 3 back-to-back at home since I think 2006. I think
Been
I
a
heard
long
the
time.
stat. Logic would say that the Ravens, as far as just a win-loss, they're in trouble. I don't buy it, and it's not because I'm a homer. You just said earlier, Saints are bad.
Saints are a bad football team.
Bad team.
The Saints are the glossiest bad football team in the NFL.
They lost their best receiver, aside from Jimmy Graham
Brandon
and
Cooks
Brandon
will
Cooks.
not play for the rest of the year. He's on IR with a finger injury.
I shed a tear because
Yeah, you love
I
Brandon
was
Cooks.
really big on Cooks.
Here's the hot topic on fantasy expert sites and podcasts everywhere. Who's going to benefit from Brandon Cooks being out? Is it Marcus Colston?
I'm going with Kenny Stills,
Is it Stills?
which I'm starting in flex in a bunch of leagues this week.
Here's my opinion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to benefit from it because they don't score that many points to begin with. Look at the schedule for this team. I know we're running close on time. They don't score points. They don't score a ton of points.
Yeah.
They're not a good offensive team anymore. They're just not. If they weren't in the god-awful NFC South, they'd be dead and buried by now.
Which, by the way, Tampa Bay is 2-8, and they're
And
two
only
games,
two teams out of first.
in Week 12. What? What
I'm
world are we
an
living
Atlanta Falcons fan. I'll tell you right now, I am embarrassed for the NFC South. Here's the thing. The NFC South plays the AFC North, which is an example in this game. There's no bigger styles clash
Yeah.
than the grind it out, beat you to a pulp AFC North against the flit around fancy pants finesse squads in the NFC South. And it goes to show you that the tougher team wins every time.
So, fantasy relevance, Forsett should have a very nice game.
Forset's going to have a really good game.
Is Steve Smith back and can do something? Because everyone's
Steve Smith
waiting.
Is angry.
Well,
That's all you need to know.
It's an old rival.
Steve Smith's angry.
He is
Steve
angry.
Smith will find a reason to be angry at anybody.
Right.
Steve Smith would go out and try and beat our grandmother.
Right.
This week on her 85th birthday. Happy birthday, Grandma. We know you're not watching, but happy birthday anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. The for the first time that I can remember this year, every Raven is a play. Both Smiths, Owen Daniels.
Owen Daniels is a nice play this week in tight end.
Forsett, I can't start Talaferro because they haven't given him
No.
any work. But, yeah, they're going to score some points against the Saints. Now, I've got the Saints schedule up. This is the biggest fallacy in the NFL that the Saints are a good offensive team. They lost to Atlanta in week 1. At Atlanta, they scored 34 points. That's a decent offensive output. They only scored 24 in a loss to Cleveland. They beat Minnesota 20-9. They scored 17 points, getting crushed by Dallas. They scored 37 against Tampa, but that was against Tampa, and it took them to overtime to win. They scored 23 in a loss to Detroit. They scored 44 beating Green Bay. That's the one game that they have on their resume that is at least decent, and Green Bay can give up points by the bunch.
Yeah.
In the last 3 games, they've lost in overtime to San Francisco, scoring 24. They managed to beat Carolina by scoring 28 points, and they lost to Cincinnati, the god-awful Cincinnati Bengals, 27-10 at home. They're not a good offensive team, folks. I don't know what else to say about it.
It's tough to break your tradition of, for the past 8 years, you can just bank on Drew Brees and any of his weapons, but not this year. So I'm looking at a Ravens defense that's gotten younger and is fast and aggressive, and I think they're going to do a little bit of terrorizing.
The Ravens are one of these teams that likes to go out and play well on national TV. They don't always do it.
They don't.
They don't always get it done, but they like to.
Yeah.
If they have a chance to capitalize on this team, they're going to. And I'm telling you, it's a gut punching, hit you in the face team against a finesse team. And
that's lost a bit of their finesse.
Lost finesse, and they don't play tough. And they don't necessarily scare anybody at home anymore.
And even though I can't believe I'm saying this about a team that's 4-6, and is kind of scrapping. This game means a lot more to the Ravens right now because they're in a race where everyone in their division has a winning record and they cannot fall behind.
I think it means a ton to both teams.
It does.
It really does because New Orleans only has so many home
New
games
Orleans
left.
Yeah, I know, but New Orleans has a much easier road to getting to the playoffs, which is shocking, at 4-6 than the Ravens do at 6-4.
Anytime you play at home on national TV, it's the biggest pressure you're going to be under. The rest of New Orleans' schedule, by the way, is at Pittsburgh, home to Carolina, at Chicago, home to Atlanta, and at Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, they should go 3-3.
At least.
Which will win their division.
Probably.
So, but I don't know. It should be an awesome game, not just because I'm a Ravens fan. I think it should be entertaining football.
It'll be entertaining either way. So.
We're definitely out of time.
Thanks for tuning in. I think we'll have Kirk back next week.
Yeah.
Everybody have a great week. If you have any questions throughout the week. Oh, we've got another Twitter notification. Hold on one second.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on. We got to refresh.
Play us out.
Kirk wants to know if he plays Morris or Gio in PPR. Play Gio. Screw it.
Yeah, it's just
he's not going to get as much.
He knows
action.
this. The Redskins game is going to be ugly, like we said.
The Redskins are bad.
Yeah.
Kirk, don't be on.
Did have a question through text from one of our listeners, Cody, who's also in our league. This isn't the league he's in, by the way, but he has a complete embarrassment of riches. I've heard his team in flex. Does he start Josh Gordon or Shady McCoy? So
McCoy.
That's what we're thinking too. Normally I wouldn't say that, but we talked about,
it's going to hurt you when Gordon scores 2 touchdowns against my Falcons, but you still start McCoy.
Yeah, because he has the higher ceiling. So,
all right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need anything during the week, we'll try and check the Twitter periodically, and then we'll see you next week
keep making that playoff
Now,
push.
Next weekend, it's the big weekend, Week 13.
Oh, yeah.
This is the end of fantasy football season for the regular season.
So, keep making that playoff push. Be bold. Don't be boring. Pick up some people you can take a chance on, because if you're fighting for a playoff spot, you're going to have to roll the dice this year. There's too many injuries. It's really bad right now.
And don't be afraid of the hot guys.
Nope, not at all.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.